We have started with endocrine glands, and we have completed one gland under that, that was pituitary gland. Fine. Now let us start with the another gland which is known as thyroid gland. All have heard this word thyroxine, thyroid gland. Now where this gland is situated? It is located in the neck. From the structural point of view, you just have to remember this. Do not go into deep. Just remember this thing, that thyroid gland is located where? It is located in the neck. It produces thyroxine that influences the body's metabolism rate. So thyroid gland is releasing a hormone which is known as what? Thyroxine. And what it does? It influences the body's metabolic rate. Now the second function, the steady secretion of this hormone maintains the production of energy, consumption of oxygen, and elimination of waste in body cells. So from functional point of view, you will have to learn this. What does it do? It maintains the production of energy consumption of oxygen, which is very important. It is maintaining, it is regulating the production of energy consumption of what? Oxygen. And second thing, what it is doing? It is also eliminating the waste in the body cells, right? Now, next, on the other hand, unproduction of thyroxine leads to what? Physical and psychological lethargy. See, the production is important for consumption of oxygen and elimination of waste in body cells. Now, on the other hand, what happens if unproduction of thyroxine is there due to any reason? In our body, if thyroxine is not released by thyroid gland because of any reason, because of any abnormality, what will happen? It will lead to physical and psychological lethargy. Lethargy matlab alas, hai na? We will not feel active, we will not feel alert, we will not feel like doing work. We will just feel like lying down somewhere, not to indulge ourselves in any movement or activity. So this gland is very important for our activeness, right? If thyroid gland is removed in young animals, their growth will stunted and they fail to develop sexually. So what is the other important thing? If this gland is removed surgically in young animals, right? So what will happen? Their growth will stop, first of all. And also they will fail to develop sexually. They will not able to develop their sexual organs, right? So this gland is very important. So this much you have to understand also and learn also. Don't read 4 to 5 lines are given on the basis of this structure. So don't do this, just leave it. Thyroid gland we have done. Now next is what? Adrenal gland. Adrenal gland is located where? It is located above each kidney. You all know that there are 2 kidneys, right? So adrenal gland is also situated. It is located above each kidney. Now this gland has 2 parts. What are those? First is adrenal cortex and second one is adrenal medulla, right? Adrenal gland is there. It is located on each kidney, and this gland has 2 parts. What are they? Adrenal cortex and adrenal medulla, each secreting different hormones. So these 2 parts are secreting different hormones. That's it. Do not cover up the rest of the lines which is given in the first paragraph. Leave it. Then come upon the last paragraph. The adrenal cortex secretes a group of hormones called corticoids. Now this adrenal cortex, which is a part of which gland? Adrenal gland. It is secreting not one hormone but a group of hormones. And what that group of hormones is called? Corticoids, right? Which are utilized by the body for a number of physiological purposes. Now these corticoids are very important and utilized by the body for a number of physical purposes. What are these purposes? These corticoids regulate the minerals in the body, particularly sodium, potassium, and fluorides. So this group of hormones is regulating the mineral content in our body. And what are those minerals? Sodium, potassium, and chloride. Any disturbance in its function seriously affect the functions of the nervous system. Another important thing about adrenal cortex is what? If there is any disturbance in its function, if there is any abnormality in its function, what it will affect the functions of the nervous system. And nervous system, you all know, we have studied about the nervous system, the central, the peripheral. So nervous system is a very important part of human body. And if it is get disturbed, lot of activities physiologically and psychologically will get disturbed, will get distorted. So adrenal cortex is very much important, right? Next come upon the second part of adrenal gland. What is it? Adrenal medulla. Now this adrenal medulla also secretes two hormones. What are those two hormones? Just keep remember the things step by step. Adrenal gland is there, fine. Two parts are there, adrenal cortex and adrenal medulla. Adrenal cortex is secreting a group of hormones which is known as corticoids. Tell about its functions in brief. Then come upon the second part of adrenal gland, which is adrenal medulla. And this medulla is also secreting two kinds of hormones. Now, what are the names? Epinephrine and norepinephrine, and which is also known as popularly, which Komal ma'am made you understand that day. I hope you remember when Madhav raised the question about the sweat gland. So what ma'am has explained, that the adrenaline and noradrenaline hormones are there, and these hormones are taking care of the sympathetic activation. So this is also important for these kind of activities. So sympathetic activation such as what? Increased heart rate, oxygen consumption, metabolic rate, muscle tone, etc. take place through the secretion of these two hormones. So these two hormones are very important in dealing with emergencies. Why I said emergencies? Because sympathetic nervous system is mainly concerned with dealing with facing with any kind of emergency situations. And what does the parasympathetic system does? You remember, parasympathetic system bring back the equilibrium of the body. It is more concerned with the conservation of energy, and it maintains the homeostasis of the body. Yes, so medulla is secreting epinephrine and norepinephrine. And what these hormones does, these hormones play an active role in sympathetic system. These two hormones stimulate the hypothalamus. What is the other feature about these two hormones? That it stimulates. Stimulate means activate. Which part? The hypothalamus. And you remember, hypothalamus is mainly concerned with what? Our emotions and motivation. So these two hormones are stimulating the hypothalamus, which in turn prolongs emotions in an individual even when the stressor has been removed. Now you all have noticed this thing, that whenever we face any kind of emergency, and when that emergency has ended, now that stressor is not present in our surroundings. Still we keep on feeling the emotion. Suppose you got scared by any stimulus, right? Suppose you scared by any stimulus in the environment, but now that stressor has been removed, right? But still will for some time will keep on becoming scared. You will keep on feeling the emotion which is known as fear. So why it is happening? It is happening just because of hypothalamus. And who stimulate hypothalamus? These two hormones, adrenaline and noradrenaline. Fine. So it is all about adrenal gland. Next comes pancreas. What are pancreas? These pancreas lying near the stomach and has a primary role in digestion of food. Very simple. Pancreas are located near the stomach and plays an important role in digesting the food. Acha, but what is the important thing? It also secretes a hormone which is known as what? insulin. Insulin, you all know, yes. Insulin, what it helps? It helps the liver to break down the glucose for use by the body or for storage as glycogen by the liver. See, what insulin is doing? It is a kind of hormone. Just understand this thing. Now, what is the function of this hormone? It is helping your liver. For doing what? It is breaking down the glucose for use by the body. A body needs glucose, but who is processing that glucose? Who is breaking down that glucose for the use by our body? Insulin, right? Now, when insulin is not secreted in proper amount, fine, due to any reason, when this hormone is not properly secreted in our body, what will happen? The people start developing the disease which is popularly known as diabetic mellitus or simply diabetes. In a layman language, what we say? Diabetes, right? And what is the other name? Diabetic mellitus. So all know what is insulin, what is the cause of diabetes, because this particular hormone insulin is not secreted in proper amount. That is why you all can find out the people who are suffering from this disease, very common disease, and particularly the persons who take intake of sugar, right, of sweet things, and in old age this disease generally develops, right? So it is all about the glands. The last one is gonads. I think this you people can read on yourself. This is very simple, and I don't think any question will be coming from this part. So you just read it for your knowledge. Last one, gonads particularly, I'm saying, just read it on your own. No question will be coming from this section, fine? So I hope endocrine glands are done. Just go through all these glands once again. Don't stress upon the structural part. Just try to remember what the functions and the activities. Now next is again heredity, genes and behavior. Under this section also, I'll be, make you underline the things which you have to learn. Not all the things you will be covering, because this you all have done in your science in 9th and 10th standard. So we'll be just covering the specific parts, and generally 1 mark question will be coming. So just underline or try to understand what is genetics. Yes, you can see the word genetics. Now what does it mean? The study of the inheritance of physical and psychological characteristics from ancestors is referred to as genetics. We all use this word genes, right? Heredity, inherited, fine. So what all these terms means? It means it is the study of inheritance. That means we are carrying the genes from our parents. And what in what form? In 2 forms it is generally there. One, it is in the form of physical features, right? And another, it is in psychological characteristics. See, if we take psychological characteristics, suppose intelligence. So in some manner, you are carrying intelligence also from your parents in some manner, right? So for your physical and psychological characteristics, this inheritance is responsible. These genes are responsible, which we are carrying from our parents. So this is all known as what? Genetics, fine. Now next topic is chromosomes. I don't think chromosomes will be covering, so just leave it. All you know that there are 46 chromosomes from parents, 23 from mother, 23 from father. So this is very general. X, Y chromosomes are there. You just have to remember what is the full form of DNA. Chromosomes are composed mainly of a substance called DNA. What is the full form? Deoxyribonucleic acid, right? Just remember this thing. What is the full form of DNA and what is it? Chromosomes are composed mainly of a substance. So this is a kind of substance which produces or which make chromosomes, right? This is all about from chromosomes. Next comes genes. Now this is quite important. We can do quite 2-3 terms from this section. When we talk about genes, as we just discussed, that we carry these genes from our parents and it is visible in the form of physical characteristics and psychological characteristics, right? Now, what is important under this section? 2 terms are there, phenotype and genotype, right? Are you getting the things? One term is known as PHENOTYPE, phenotype, right? And the second one is what? Genotype. What is the difference between the two? This question could come, just try to understand the difference. The observable traits of an organism are called phenotype. What are the examples? Your body build, your physical strength, intelligence, and other behavioral traits. So it is covering the physical also and the psychological things also. But what? The observable traits, the traits which we can see, it is known as phenotype. What is genotype? The traits which can be passed on to the offspring through genetic material are called its genotype. Now, what does it mean? See, genotype is what? These are the traits which is passed to a person through genetic material, right? And it is called genotype. Now, these things, when we used to see or when these things are observable, it is known as what? Phenotype. So genes we cannot see, but phenotype, the characteristics, the physical and psychological, both we can observe, we can see in a person, right? So genotype and phenotype, the basic difference between the terms. Now another term you can see all, mutation. Mutation is there. What is it? Change of a gene from one form to another is called mutation. Underline this term. Whenever a gene is changed from one form to another form, simply this process is known as what? Mutation, right? So this is all about from genes. So heredity and genes and behavior, this section is covering quite a small section. You don't have to cover each and everything. Just I made you underline the terms, remember those things, and apart from these things, just go through the section. Don't leave it, just read it once. Fine. Chalo, next, let us start with a very important part of this chapter now. Cultural basis, socio-cultural shaping of behavior. In the early classes, when we started with this chapter, I told you the thing that this chapter is divided into 2 sections. One is the biological aspect of behavior, and second one is what? The socio-cultural aspect of behavior. Fine. So we have covered the first section, biological aspect. Into that, what we have done, the evolution, the central nervous system, the peripheral nervous system. Then we also done about the endocrine glands, right? So this is all about the biological aspect, which is not very important from exam point of view. Now the second half of this chapter is quite important and you have to cover it fully. So let us start. When we say cultural basis, socio-cultural shaping of behavior, 2 terms you can see, socio-cultural, society and culture. Every society, each society has its own culture, right? As we have also discussed earlier about this thing in first chapter. Now what they are saying, a major reason for the complexity of human behavior. See, human behavior is very complex in nature. It is very, very complex in nature as compared to animal behavior, right? Now, major reason for this complexity is that unlike animals, human beings have a culture to regulate their behavior. Now, what is the reason behind this complexity? Because we as human beings, work behave according to society. We always try to follow the norms, the rules and regulations of the society. We always try to follow the customs and culture. of our religion, of our country, right? So these all things, the society and culture is governing us somewhere. So that is why our behavior is much complex than animal behavior. Animals doesn't have any society, they doesn't follow any culture, right? So this is the basic difference, and you can also understand this, what is the reason or what is the cause of complexity of human behavior. Now with a very nice example, we can make this more easy and simple. Now let us consider the basic need of hunger, right? This need of hunger is present in both in human beings also and in animals also. We know that it has a biological basis which is common among animals and human beings, fine. But the way this need is gratified, see, I stressed upon the word the way, but the way this need is gratified by human beings is extremely complex. Now, the drive, hunger is present both in animals as well as in human beings. Agree? Right? Now, there is a lot difference, a big difference between the way we gratify this hunger need. Why? Some people eat vegetarian food, right? Other people prefer non-vegetarian food. Now, some vegetarians, they have eggs, they eat eggs, but they do not eat other non-veg items. Why is that so? Try to think how people have come to behave so differently in terms of food intake. So among human beings, there is lot of variety. Some people don't prefer dairy products, right? Some people don't prefer eggs. Some people are vegetarian, but they eat eggs. So lot of complexity is there, fine. But have you ever find among animals like this? No. The animals which are carnivorous, they eat their food, which are herbivorous, they eat their food, type of food, right? And usually they eat food, they eat uncooked food. So there is no complexity. Simple things are there. In the same, other behavior has been explained about the sexual behavior. It is also different quite a lot between human beings and animals. So out of these two examples, you can give any example just to explain the thing that how animal and human behavior is different. Or the question could be in this form, that what is the reason or what is the cause of human complexity, right? Human behavior complexity. So this could be one section, this could be one topic. Now let us start. It's 11:26. Ma'am, you can stop with the recording.